Hi, I'm Radhika Garg, and I'm going to present my paper that appeared in Tokai early this year, titled Social Context, Agency, and Conflicts, Exploring Critical Aspects of Design for Future Smart Home Technologies. In this paper, we answer how users or potential users would like aspects of their complex daily lives in domestic spaces to be supported by IoT devices. To this end, we conducted 2 co-design workshops that were interleaved with an in-home activity involving 18 adult participants who came from diverse backgrounds and had different levels of experience with IoT devices as users, non-users, and interested non-users. We divided the participants into 6 groups based on their availability and past experience with these devices. In the in-home activity, participants were asked to draw the layout of their home and label it with activities that they engage in different parts of the house, with the people that participate in those activities, and also label the everyday objects that are used in those activities. They were also given prompts, as you see on the screen, to help them think about the role of future smart device in those activities. Participants could write text, draw, or paste printed photos into their responses. In the design session that followed the in-home activity, we prepared card sets based on the themes and examples identified during the inductive coding of the audio recordings of design session 1 and on the images, drawings, or text that people had prepared and submitted as part of those in-home activities, as you see on the screen. In this process, we included elements from 5 categories of cards provided by IoT Design Kit and the Tiles Toolkit, namely mission cards, think or object cards, person cards, environment cards, home action cards, and the feedback cards. Participants use these different cards to depict the future of smart home devices, as you see on the right side of the screen. During the design sessions, participants in the groups worked with different missions, for example, that of health goal, pet care, uplifting the mood, taking care of clothing, etc. We followed inductive analysis to gather insights from the collected data. Images and drawings were additionally analyzed using methodology proposed by Poole and colleagues. Our findings were categorized into 3 themes. In this video, I'm going to talk about agency and management on conflicts. For remaining details, I encourage listeners to check our paper. Our participants assigned complete autonomy to their devices in reference to routine or mundane tasks. In contrast, for tasks that have emotional consequences, such as childcare, the participants wanted their agency of devices to be able to be negotiated and readjusted several times over the period of use. One of the groups, after several iterations, designed a device that would help and support parents in childcare, but also have periodic consultations with the parents to support a dynamic adjustment of its agency based on their needs, preferences, and context. This version of the device involved parents in the device's decision-making by informing them about the latest activity of the child. But when the parents were busy, it could take care of the child on its own. Based on our findings, we hypothesize that flexible autonomy would lead users to sustain their engagement with smart systems. In other words, future smart home technologies need to draw from visions of both Weiser and Rogers. In some cases, like our participants, we think users would expect the future devices to be executors and act autonomously, which might mean users' own choice and voice is subordinate to that of device. But in others, users will desire them to be collaborators and involve them in decision-making or only provide recommendations to user, who would then make the final decisions on their own. An open question then is, how can designers of smart home technologies support complex yet rich agency negotiations between humans and objects? Following other scholars, we assert that values have practical relevance on the basis of which humans organize and live their daily lives. Therefore, to support adaptable agency, the design of domestic smart technologies need to account for value-based tensions that emerge as people appropriate these technologies. The previously mentioned childcare system could support different levels of user agency based on the interplay of user values of independent reasoning, efficiency, emotional bonding, and privacy. For example, in cases where design facilitates user convenience through device autonomy, it must also involve parents in the decision making, with the aim of supporting parent-child bonding and ensuring that an autonomous smart agent does not have the last say in childcare. The second theme that emerged from an analysis was around managing conflicts in co-use and sharing of devices. Our participants indicated that while private spaces have distinct owners, public spaces have joint owners, which makes them sites for frequent conflicts around technology use in households. In other words, while the use of technology in personal space is driven by the preference of its sole owner, the need to consider the preferences of all family members in public spaces often leads to conflicts over technology use. Participants resolve such conflicts through in-the-moment compromises or by establishing norms and practices. However, they indicated that solutions and arrangements are dynamic in nature, and they are often based on the moods, intentions, and social hierarchy of the users and on the priority of the activity at hand. The participant expected 3 types of conflicts to emerge once their designs are implemented in the actual setting of a home, because of the differences in the desires and needs of family members. These conflict types could be categorized in value-based conflicts, preference-based conflicts, and activity-based conflicts. These types have been previously found over the use of smart lighting systems in homes. Our study confirmed their relevance in the context of a broader set of smart home technologies, such as those pertaining to learning, parenting, cleanliness, organization, pet care, and the health goals of household members. Our participants saw value in user-driven conflict resolution for several reasons, including preferences for inter-member communication in a family and lack of fixed pattern in resolution of conflicts. We, like many of our participants, believe that user-driven conflict resolution can lead to positive changes by improving the parties' understanding of each other and of a given state of affairs, that it can foster creativity. However, they wanted smart devices to assist this process by providing relevant information at the moment of conflict, so that previously established social preferences, roles, and mechanisms could smoothly come into play. For example, to avoid preference conflicts, visitors could be informed about the temperature preferences of a house member and whether or not they are comfortable with visitors changing the setting of a thermostat. Overall, by not automating conflict resolutions but providing relevant information, devices would not disrupt or fail to respect the natural social order of the household, a concern raised by several other studies, but would actually scaffold the resolution process. Thank you so much for listening. Do check out our paper for the remaining themes and details.